Welcome to the United States of Tiffany. Our commentary offers a humorous take on wrestling. Please note, we're not bullying or attacking the wrestlers. We're engaging with the choreographed sport and its storylines. Our jokes and observations are about the characters and storylines, not the real people behind them. Tourists and citizens alike, welcome. Enjoy the show, and remember, it's all in good fun.
Hello, party people. I hope everybody is doing well. Hello, Nika. Hi. Okay. Let's see. All right. You guys will be able to see the comments as they come in, and I'll be able to see them without having to double back to certain things. So, welcome to the show, ladies and gents. AJ, I'm going to. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope you guys had a good day. I hope you guys are enjoying or enjoyed Saturday Night Main Event because it was an interesting show. It was fast for it to be on for just, I think it was an hour that it was supposed to be on. It was 2 hours? That was 2 hours. Wow. Didn't feel like 2 hours, felt like an hour. But it was on for 2 hours. Gerard is correct. It was on for 2 hours. And we're going to get into the show because we got a lot of stuff to talk about besides just the show. We're going to go over Battleground later on in the show. We'll also talk about Under Siege from TNA. And we'll get into the next couple of pay-per-views that are set up to go until we hit SummerSlam. Okay? Because it looks like they're going to be skipping a main pay-per-view with everybody in July, like we talked about. The rumors are true. First things first, the very first match of the night on Saturday night main event was the tag team match, okay? The tag match was between Bron Breakker and Seth Rollins going up against Sami Zayn and CM Punk. Now, the match didn't even get to really have much going. The guys came out there, they had their entrances, and then they got into it. I will say this, CM Punk got one of the biggest pops of the night. The entire crowd was singing his music louder than they sang Seth Rollins' music and entrance, which leads me to believe that he is more than likely falling out of favor with the crowd, and that is mainly to do with what we are seeing from him with these last couple of months. This match was good, but the ending of this match is where things changed, and the shifting of this entire game has changed. The whole regime has been turned on its head. Brought into the stable. This is how Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker were able to beat CM Punk and Sami Zayn. Bronson Reed was in there after Paul Heyman caused a distraction. Now, with Paul Heyman, it's very interesting the difference in how he operates in terms of his character with Seth Rollins and in terms of his character with Roman Reigns. It was more along the lines of a full-on respect for Roman that he feared, disappointing him or hurting him in any way. Whereas with Seth Rollins, it's a complete 180. He operates under the guise of his own volition. He doesn't really have a lot going on. He does answer to Seth, but not in the same way that he answers to Roman Reigns. He will involve himself in this match if he deems it necessary, and he will help maintain the momentum that Seth and his crew have decided to get for themselves. So there is a strong difference Reigns and being his wise man. With all that being said, Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker were victorious in this match due to their involvement with Bronson Reed, and Bronson Reed is now a part of the stable with Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Seth Rollins. Y'all can let me know what y'all think about that in the comments, but I'm going to move on to the next match of the night. All right. Let me see. Mackenzie said, I don't know if Bronson Reed makes sense to join the group when him and Seth have issues. Well, clearly they've made up for their issues. The issues are more between Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. There was a time where Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker were battling it out for that Intercontinental Championship, and they were having a pretty deep brawl. But then Bronson Reed was recruited by Solo to be a part of the bloodline for the what they call it, the War Games match, and that is gone. I guess you could say a little bit of 6 months, maybe give or take. November, December, January, February, March, April, May. It's May, right? It's about 6 months. Hi, Tirza. So he's been out for about 6 months with a broken ankle. So Bronson Reed coming back to work things out with Seth and be a part of this stable actually makes really good sense. He's got two of the strongest and most formidable people on this roster. Arguably, he has two future WWE World Heavyweight Champions in Bronson Reed and in Braun Breaker. It is not unheard of for him to have these two on his side. And what it looks like is very reminiscent of the days where he was the Messiah and the Messiah had his two guys. At one point, he had, who was it, Buddy Murphy, and he used to have Austin Theory before Austin Theory did reinvigoration of that. But Seth has a tendency to reinvent himself very, very well. So we'll see how this plays out. But I'm sure on Monday, we know Seth loves to talk. So I'm sure he's going to explain himself as to how he was able to capture Bronson Reed's attention, which is very simple. He's a master manipulator and he knows how to, sway people into doing what he wants them to do. He's done this time and time again. Not only that, but he also has Paul Heyman there to help aid. All right. Sorry about that. The audio went out because the actual Wi-Fi went out. So here we go. Here's what I was saying. Before I was so rudely interrupted. I don't know where I stopped at, so I'm just gonna start over. The makeup of this team is very reminiscent of what he had in terms of his Messiah days in the team. First iteration of that was with Akam and Razor. After that, he had Buddy Murphy and Austin Theory, which he ended up losing Austin Theory for a little hiccup, and then he ended up just going with Buddy Murphy the whole time. After that, he kind of left the Messiah where he started it and left it of the Messiah, but he's going to have a much more bruising, brutal way of moving with these two bruisers on his side. There is no way that this isn't going to be successful for him. I hate to say it, but I suspect that Seth Rollins is going to be a two-time world heavyweight champion very, very soon. By the time Mania SummerSlam rolls around, I suspect that he'll be getting that championship back from Jey Uso. And I hate to say that, but that's just the honest to God truth. But technically, Jey Uso would have been champion for at least bare minimum 4 months, maybe 5. He got it in April, May, June, July, August. So he'd be champion for at least 4 months if he keeps it past Mania. I mean SummerSlam. But if they have him drop it at SummerSlam, he would have been champion for like 4 months, which to me is fine. You know, the story alone, I understand it. I hate it, but I understand it. Oh, so yeah, this is going to be an insane combo with these two. I find them to be very, very brutal. Bronson Reed is a monster, and so is Braun Breaker. But he has two very combustible elements in Bronson Reed and in Braun Breaker. And quite frankly, I don't see Braun Breaker staying in this group much longer, past a year. I think give it a year, maybe a year and a half, and I see Braun Breaker breaking off from them or causing or being extremely jealous. Just a lot of discord is going to happen in this group because you got a lot of men that just have severe anger issues, and Braun Breaker is one of them. He's never been able to control his anger. And even if you have someone like Seth Rollins whispering in your ear every 2 seconds, telling you sweet nothings, that's not going to change how you operate or how you act. Second match of the night goes to Chelsea and Zelina Vega. I hate this render, by the way. Oh, Zelina girl, I love you to pieces. I really do. And I'm very proud of you. No doubt in my mind am I proud of you. But bitch, this wig is crazy. This wig is crazy. Okay? Nuts. I hope y'all can hear me. Y'all tell me in the comments if y'all can hear me or not, please. Let me see what y'all said. Tears said the way Triple H was about to get cussed all the way the fuck out if Jay lost it. Girl, I didn't think he was losing it, especially after John Cena came up to him before they match. I figured Cody was going to be popping up because John Cena said something, because John Cena wouldn't involve himself in something was off, and I was just like, why is he even talking to Jay? What's the point? You know, like what was that? But it is what it is, you know. Hello, Lady Gates. How are you? Y'all can hear me? Great. Awesome. Hope if the sound goes out, more than likely the Wi-Fi popped out. So if the Wi-Fi pops out, just give me a minute. I'll be back in. Okay. Now, Zelina, you did good. You did good, kid. You got your ass kicked. I'm not gonna lie. Chelsea was giving you a workover in this match. Chelsea started off out the gate beating the brakes off of baby Zelina. Okay, tore her ass out. Okay, Vega was in there trying her best to get some offense going, but Chelsea had her going every which way. It did not change until Vega got on that top rope and they really started to tussle and fight. And she hit her with a super code red. Okay, we had Piper, we had Alba getting involved, giving homegirl a hard time, honey. Okay, she was having a hard time, but eventually she was able to best Chelsea. Now the problem came in with Chelsea. What did she do? She hit her with a 619, and her foot got caught. But Chelsea took the brunt of the foot that didn't get caught to her nose. Chelsea nose either is broken or she got hit real hard and it just started bleeding. Okay, whatever blood vessels was in there said, it's time to go, and they broke. They got busted. Because Chelsea was bleeding. Blood was coming down her face. It was in her mouth. It was everywhere, baby. Damn, what they see just doing out here? Ew. Anyway, uh, oh, it's called Formula One. That's what the movie called. Yeah. Not going to be able to contend for this title anymore. She is going to be at the back of the line, unfortunately, when it comes to the United States Championship. It's about to be very interesting in these streets. I want to know who Zelina Vega's next challenger is going to be for this title. I mean, we see who Lyra going to be facing off against, but I'm curious about Chelsea. Very curious. Any whoosies. Let's go to the next match of the night. John Cena facing off against R-Truth. R-Truth came out there dressed like like John Cena, and his shirt said Ron Cena on it instead of John Cena. Had the gear, the shorts, and everything. Came out there, did that man's entrance better than him. Child did his 5-knuckle shuffle better than him. He tore John Cena's ass up. Now John Cena was giving him the blues. This match was just overall, this is probably one of the most disappointing matches on the card. Not because, R-Truth sucked or John Cena sucked. It was just the way that the match was structured. It made it seem as though R-Truth didn't want to fight John Cena. But at the end of the day, like, if somebody beating you down, like, you gotta whoop ass. I'm sorry, but I just did not. I didn't like it. That man had no lips, child. No, baby, he don't have no lips, honey. He did say he wanted to be like John when he grew up. That's what he said. And he emulated him well. I'm not gonna lie. He did a very good job. Bitch, you did a good job. Bitch, you did a good job. He did a good job. Any whoosies. John C ended up retaining by low blowing R-Truth. And after threatening to hit him with a chair, he low blowed the man, and that was Murder She Wrote. This match on Friday. And I know they wanted to give Cody a real big return, but again, you could have did this Friday and had him come out there Friday to wrestle. But it also was the reasoning behind this match also led to the reason why John Cena was gonna get involved in how he was gonna get involved in Jey Uso's match. Okay, so before we had that, we had this steel cage match. To me, this was probably one of my favorite matches of the night. It was fun. I didn't necessarily want to watch it because Drew and Damian have fought so many All right, y'all. Sorry about that. Wi-Fi went out again. Can't help it. Can't change it. All right. But listen, like I said, it was a good match. Both men put on a very good match together. It was interesting. It was fun. They had their moments. But Drew also suffered a concerto, and he just couldn't contend after that concerto. He ended up being laid out. Damian didn't even give him the dignity of a pin. Damian walked over him, went to the door, and walked out of that match on his own volition and walked to the back. And that was that. Okay. He was not trying to have it. He was like, I'm not going there with you. Wi Fi cuts out. My apologies. I can't really do nothing about it. It's just not having a great, stable day today. Beach ever said, apparently Drew's working hurt, steady, can't turn his head all the way to one side. I need this man to rest. Well, it seems like the last time that they fought each other before this match, Drew actually got injured. That Mania match, he's working with an injured neck. He was able to do this, but I feel like Drew is going to leave and he's going to be put on an injured list. He's probably going to go and recover. Neck injuries seem to be very common, although they're happening a little bit too often for my taste. Um, Neck injuries are very common, unfortunately. And now he's going to need to go and get some rest and rehab, which Drew's been going nonstop for the last couple of years. And I really think that Drew deserves and earned a break. He needs to go and heal himself. His whole hip line has been realigned, child. But again, Damian Priest won this steel cage match. This is the first steel cage match loss for Drew McIntyre. Every steel cage match he's had before this, I think he's three was 3-0, and now he's 3-1. Let's get into this match, which didn't last long, honestly, which was very interesting. But it didn't last long. It was an okay match for what it was. Logan Paul and his wild ass punch. He punches with his fists clamped together and like he throws like a girl, and that's why he hits so wild. It just doesn't. To me, it does nothing. It's just a weird ass way to hit somebody. It's very very strange. But anyways, Logan Paul and Jey Uso were battling it out. They had some moments where Logan Paul could have won. He tried to cheat by removing the turnbuckle cover. John Cena came out, pulled the referee out of the ring. And John Cena feels like if he gives the title or lets the title go to Logan Paul, it'll be an easier way to ruin wrestling because a YouTuber will be champion in WWE. Newsflash, Johnny Boy, a YouTuber was already champion in WWE, but I get what you mean. If he's the only champion and you take away that title, then you somehow are ruining wrestling. If that's what you believe, sure, go off, sir. Whatever makes you happy. I mean, CM Punk tried to do the same thing, and wrestling went on. Just like Celine Dion tells you, your life will go on, baby. Okay. Now, as John Cena and Logan Paul tried to cheat their way to success, the hero showed up in none other than Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes has returned with a fresh new bleach, a little bit of exercise, a little bit big arms. Cena, but he's going to take out Logan Paul right along with him. The match is going to be made. It is going to be Logan Paul and John Cena versus Cody Rhodes and his brother, Jey Uso, the world heavyweight champion. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted, and this match ain't even happy yet. And I'm just like, exactly. These neck injuries happening too much, bro. It very much is. But hopefully I don't know, they can find some kind of ways to make this to fix this so that it's not happening as often anymore. But unfortunately, it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. So that was your Saturday night main event. 2 hours gone and done. We're done. Um, Good job. They put Vega on the show like they should have. I was appreciative of that. She was the only match along with Chelsea on this show. That was low key disappointing because I feel like they could have put another women's match on this show, on this card, and did away with R-Truth and John Cena. Honestly, they could have just had John Cena come out there and try to cost Jey Uso this title. They could have had John Cena cross paths with Jey Uso on Monday Night Raw instead of setting up this match with Truth and doing all this extraness. Okay, I'm not saying that it shouldn't happen. I'm just saying that they're doing a bit much. That's all I'm saying. Hold tight, y'all. That's what I was looking for. I hate when they don't make the renders readily available and you gotta fight to find them. So annoying. All right. So, Money in the Bank. Let's talk about Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank is June 7th. Right before Money in the Bank is going to be Worlds Collide. They have already set up matches for Worlds Collide. Legado del Fantasma will be going up against 3 luchadors from AAA. You will also have El Hijo, El Vikingo going up against Chad Gable, I believe it was, that I saw. And there's another match that's set, but I'm not sure. There is a little birdie that told me that very soon to someone else. Not sure who that's going to be, but they're not going to have him drop it at Worlds Collide. He's going to drop it well before Worlds Collide, and someone else will be champion heading into that PLE. So that's a little news on that. Moving on, Money in the Bank is moving forward. They have already secured the winners of these matches. Bliss and Solo qualified first, and then these last couple of days, we've had Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, and Julia all qualify for Money in the Bank. We are only missing 2 women for the Money in the Bank match, rounding it out to 6 because that is what they're going to have, 6 women in the match and 6 men. The men's match, however, is not fully completed. We have LA Knight and it's Jacob and somebody. I can't remember who's supposed to compete next week. I am so sorry, y'all, but I had it in my head. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. I thought I had saved it. Oh, damn. I know that Jacob is supposed to compete in the Money in the Bank match, but unfortunately, I cannot see or find who he's supposed to compete against because I am a scatterbrain today because today has been a day. Okay, it has Great. They won't let me be great today. All right. So Jacob is supposed to compete with Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. That's who he's supposed to be fighting against next week in the Money in the Bank qualifier. They did not announce any more qualifiers today. I mean, Friday, those were the only announcements for qualifiers. All right. And hopefully there'll be more qualifiers on Monday. But on Monday, we're supposed to have New Day with their triple threat tag. Okay? That's all happening Monday and this past Friday. Like I said, we had multiple qualifying matches. LA Knight qualified against Aleister Black and Shinsuke Nakamura. It was a very good match. If you didn't watch it, you should definitely get into it because it was very, very good. Charlotte Flair and Zelina Vega and Julia had their qualifying match, and Julia was able to qualify after besting the former champion and the current Women's United States champion, Zelina Vega. This match was actually pretty decent. Charlotte did pretty well at selling and fighting against these two. Even with Vega and her height difference, she still had some pieces in here where she actually hit. And this match was okay. It wasn't great. It was okay. This match, however, was very, very good. It got good and meaty towards the end, but throughout the match, we had an interference from not only DI. Belated birthday to you, Bray Wyatt. You were one of the greatest minds in wrestling, especially on the creative side. And it was sad how early they lost you, and sad how early your family lost you. So I hope you are resting easy. As a matter of fact, I know you're resting easy. And we just gonna hope and pray that your family is getting better day by day. Hopefully you're watching over it. With all that being said, they put a cake in the ring for Bray Wyatt. It was black and red. It seems that those are his favorite colors. And they blew out the candle for him. But this was before they massacred everybody. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. The tag team champions, Fraxium, DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, everybody got laid out. The only ones who didn't get laid out was Pretty Deadly because they asses wasn't out there. And I don't blame them. The YS6 has returned. But it's going to work nonetheless. We'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. Uncle Howdy is here, and the mind games are going to begin. All right. Now, while I was gone, there were a few things that have happened. Okay. First things first, WWE has decided that they will no longer be headed to New Orleans in 2026 for WrestleMania. In fact, WrestleMania's location for 2026 is still up in the air as far as I know, but they seem to have rested their sights on Las Vegas once again for WrestleMania 2026. Now, why this change happened, I can't necessarily be 1,000% company were working closely with TKO to expand their long-standing partnership, which will include in July on the 19th, they will have UFC 318. Money in the Bank 2026 has been announced by Triple H for New Orleans, and a later date for WrestleMania has been given to New Orleans. Okay. This will now, this is where the change came in. A lot of people were throwing around London for next year's Mania. A lot of people were throwing around Las Vegas, but it seems that per the rumor mill, WWE has settled on Las Vegas as their target for next year's Mania. This has made a lot of people very pissed off and upset. I mean, people were booking their Airbnbs and hotels for Mania. And now a lot of people are backing out and they can't because a lot of these places won't give them a full refund. Time frame that's set for most hotels. So there's no reason for them to force them to hold this reservation for that time frame. But people are having issues with canceling these projects, and I'm sure a lot of wrestling companies that were resting on New Orleans and everything, setting up these events, I'm sure they are all also very, very irritated by this change and this shift. TKO sees the revenue they brought in during Mania weekend, trying to replicate what UFC does in Vegas. Honestly, I think it's a stupid idea. You announced New Orleans for Mania already, had The Rock do this big presentation, and then you went on ahead and do this, and you caused a lot of drama and intrigue for nothing. Replicating revenue is ridiculous. You're a $1 billion company. You're gonna make WrestleMania level money, a event that is only second to the Super Bowl. UFC doesn't revenue anything close to Super Bowl numbers. I don't care what you're talking about. So this is a stupid move, in my opinion, business wise. I get they have the analytics and the support to support this, but in my mind, it just doesn't make sense. Period. You have made these announcements and now you're falling back on them, and there's just no excuse for it. None whatsoever. And if it's money you're talking about, that's an even worse excuse. That's ridiculous. You're a $1 billion company. How much more money do you need? You don't need that much. You're in the billions, sir. Billions. Relax. Jeez. Anyways, it seems like they're beefing up this schedule for WWE, which I don't like that either. This is also going to lead to a lot more injuries. People are have been talking about for years is the way that they should be going, but they also need an off time. Mania comes and they don't take any time off for Mania, and I hate that for them. I feel like they need to take at least 2 to 3 weeks off, if not a month off from Mania, and like really let the superstars recuperate and chill and relax and then dive headfirst into it. I know everybody's like, oh, but what about the night after Mania? Yeah, sure. Like, I mean, like, do you need it? No, you don't need it. That's kind of shitty to do. This is why it's always done on at least a year prior to announce. Because, like you said, people plan to travel for these big four events. They do. December should be that time, to be honest. They do take off in December, but it's a major show. And it takes a lot to pull off Mania. And they go hard for like the from January to Mania, there is no off season. You know what I'm saying? They need to take off for a month after WrestleMania, chill, regroup, reset everything. New storylines need to be set. Then come back with the season premiere of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, and let that roll the way that it is. Like for real. Now, like I said, Money in the Bank is set, it's getting set. They're going to be adding John Cena and Cody Rhodes' tag team match probably fairly soon. But let's move in to NXT, and then we will talk about Evolution. All right, y'all. Sorry about that. Okay. Battleground tomorrow. We got a couple matches for Battleground. And it starts tomorrow at, I want to say it's 7. Let me turn off the comments real quick. No, it starts at 8 tomorrow. Battleground starts at 8. And it's going to be on Peacock exclusively. We are going to start with Bakure and Jordan Grace's match. This probably will be see them have their showdown this past Tuesday. But I heard Obafemi kind of ripped Miles Bourne apart, kind of tore the young boy up, you know. Then you've got this 6-man tag team match, which I could have sworn they had this past Tuesday on NXT. Somebody please correct me, but I swear that these 6 men fought this past Tuesday. But they're supposed to be having a match at Temple Battleground. At least that's what I have seen in terms of the graphics. Kaylani won the right to face off against Sol Ruka at Battleground Tampa. And then we have, I already got Miles Bourne. So it seems like, we got Joe Hendry facing off against Trick Williams. That's the one that I'm missing. Now, how I do that? Now I missed the one that I really want to talk about. The boys. Her shit was real. Oh, NXT. I'm like, oh, they would do some good shit when I'm not there. Hit you all. I find it out. All right. And then we got another match that I failed to mention. Sorry about that. Not only do we have Trick Williams facing off against Joe Hendry for the TNA Championship, which these two just went to war at Under Siege. It was a tag team match between Joe Hendry, Frankie Kazarian, Trick Williams. Who is Joe Hendry's partner? Oh, I don't remember. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to that man. But Joe Hendry and his partner did end up being TNA World Champion. That would kind of suck for Joe Hendry. But Channing Stacks Lorenzo is facing off against his former Don friend, Tony D'Angelo. And he just might beat Tony D'Angelo too. Predictions, let's go. I'm going to go with Stephanie beating Jordan. Although Stephanie could lose to Jordan, and this could be her way to move up to the main roster, which would be very interesting how they would set that up. Miles Bourne is definitely going to lose to Obafemi, unfortunately for Miles, but I believe he's going to put up a very good fight. He's just not going to put up a fight that's good enough to contend against Obafemi. The Cullings probably going to beat the tag team champions and Josh Briggs. I don't understand what they're doing with them, but they're not really giving the tag team champions any respect. Like very soon, I see them more than likely dropping those tag team titles to someone else. Facing off against Soul, I'm gonna say Soul's gonna retain. The last time Kaylani and Soul Ruka fought each other, Kaylani retained her North American Championship against Soul, and I expect Soul to retain her championship against Kaylani. Channing is going up against Tony. This could go either way. Honestly, I would have Luca and Rizzo come back to cost Channing this particular match. They could proceed forward into something else, possibly into a steel cage, and then have Channing beat him there. This could be extended, so I'm curious as to how this could play out. And then finally, you have Trick Williams facing off against Joe Hendry. I'm gonna say Joe Hendry's gonna retain the title for my sanity. For the sake of my sanity, I'm gonna say Joe Hendry's gonna retain. I would be devastated specifically for Joe if Trick Williams was to take away this. What if, though, Miles does beat Ova? I'd be very shocked if he does, honestly. I don't think that he will. As much as I, like Miles Bourne, Miles hasn't held any type of title in WWE whatsoever. And this is his first title shot ever outside of the tag team division. He's never had any real trending anything going. And would it be a Cinderella story? Yes, he would be the first partially deaf champion in WWE history. But again, if they were going to give it to Miles Bourne, then they could have gave it to Javon Evans at Stand and Deliver, and Javon Evans would have been the youngest WWE champion in history across the board. They could have just gave it to Javon if they were going to do this. But they chose to continue on with Ova. So something is telling me they're not going to give it to Miles. They're going to put up a good fight, make it look like Miles could have had it. Battleground for next week. We did see Under Siege. Under Siege is a TNA PLE. I'm going to tell you how that went down. Tessa Blanchard went up against Ariana Grace. She beat Ariana Grace. They had a debate on TNA Impact last Thursday, and that erupted into a full chaos. Robert Stone and Victoria Crawford are coming in, taking over because they feel like Santino Marella and his daughter Ariana are doing way too much and they aren't doing enough. They aren't giving the right people proper opportunities. And Tessa has aligned herself with Robert Stone and she beat him. They beat Ariana Grace, even though they cheated, she did beat the girl. Um, Now there is a tag team match between Robert Stone and Tessa Blanchard and Ariana Grace and Santino Marella, which I believe is going to be this Thursday on TNA. At Tasha Steeles and Mustafa and his group facing off against the Rascals, Indy Hartwell, and then you had Champagne Singh return, and they actually lost to Mustafa's group this week. You had Mike Santana facing off against the member of First Class, which I believe his name is JC Navarro. Navarro lost to Mike Santana. Yeah, it was just a lot going on Under Siege. And unless you were paying attention to TNA, you wouldn't care or know. I'm only telling you about the things that would directly affect WWE or be a part of a direct to WWE, which is Robert Stone being officially a part of TNA. He also is the GM of Evolve, which is very interesting. But he doubles that job as causing Santino Marella a lot of discord. And Victoria Crawford is Alicia as the liaison between NXT and WWE. And it's just a lot of back and forth going on over on TNA. But it's interesting enough. If you care, go ahead and watch it. I really think that you should watch it. With all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, moving into the next month, we are moving into June. And like I said, June 7th is going to be Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank will team up with Worlds Collide, and they will have their night on Saturday, June 7th. Worlds Collide will start at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Money in the Bank will start at 7, I believe, Eastern Standard Time. Okay. Now, to clarify some things, we talked about Evolution being All right. So Evolution was rumored for a couple of months, and now they have confirmed that Evolution is happening, and it is an all-female PLE. Okay, so it will partner with Saturday Night Main Event, which leads me to believe that this is why we have such a dry Saturday Night Main Event this week, because heading into next month, we will have Saturday Night Main Event and Evolution. So these guys are going to be battling it out. Saturday Night Main Event is probably going to be a sausage fest. Okay, they're going to have all men on that card, and Evolution will be that Sunday, and they will have an all-female card as well. They have enough titles running around the E for them to do an all-female PLE. Anyways, this is happening in July. You have July 12th for Saturday Night Main Events, and Evolution will be on July 13th. Now, I know a lot of y'all love y'all some Beyonce, and Beyonce is supposed to be going to Atlanta around this time. Do with that what you will. And this is probably the reason why the Bella Twins will return and challenge for those tag team titles, which will be just in time for Liv Morgan to return with those tag team titles. Sure, go off. Anyways, Night of Champions is also going to be in June. So right after we do Money in the Bank next month, we're going to be heading into Saudi Arabia for Night of Champions. This is going to be on Saturday, June 28th. Okay. So we're right after that, we're going to be headed right into Evolution and Saturday Night Main Event in the middle of July. This is all got a lot going on, because after that, okay, after we get done with July, we're headed into August. SummerSlam is a 2-night event. This is the first time ever that SummerSlam will be a 2-night event. August 2nd and August 3rd. And then we will round this out with Clash in Paris. This is going to be on a Sunday, August, or is that a Saturday? No, it's a Sunday. Sunday, August 31st. Clash in Paris. And Raw will also emanate from Paris, France. And this means that Raw will be on at 4 in the afternoon instead of at 8. Okay? Everybody remember that? You got to remember when they go overseas, the time changes. So remember that. All that being said, loves, that is what we are going to be expecting for the next couple of months. We've got June, July, and August, and everything is tied up after that. August, November. We got August, September, November, December. We got August, October. It's August, September, October, November, December. Child, forgive me. Listen, we got a lot going on, because in October, they're going to be overseas for Crown Jewel in Perth, Australia. Okay, so we got August, September, October. Don't know what they're going to be doing in September, but in October, they're going to be in Perth. So it looks like they'll come up with something for October, for September. But October is already set, as is August, as is July, and as is June. They are rolling, ladies and gentlemen. They are rolling. And that is it. That's all, y'all. That's all we got. Damn, that's a whole lot of. Because Money in the Bank is a part of the Big Five now. Money in the Bank is your next big PLE, as is SummerSlam. And then the final one in Nail in the Coffin will be Survivor Series. And we'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. With that being said, loves, I hope you guys enjoyed Saturday Night Main Event. It was a very, 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 very interesting show. And it's been used to set up the shows for the next couple of weeks, which is very, very interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys tomorrow after Battleground, because we're going to talk all about NXT and where it's headed after this show. So with that being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more wrestling content. Check out our merch and consider becoming a member for exclusive perks, special emojis, and members-only content.